Welcome back, everybody. We got some wild news today. Some crazy stuff happened overnight, and it has nothing to do with Donald Trump in Venezuela, surprisingly. Although all of that has kind of overshadowed this story to the point where a surprisingly few people are even talking about it. In fact, the biggest video on YouTube right now talking about this story is a 40,000 view video from 7 hours ago uploaded by, you'll never believe it, The Quartering, who when I searched this story was the very top recommendation from YouTube. So that's great, isn't it? I figured we'd go ahead and watch the Quartering's video, because then we can kind of kill two birds with one stone. We can cover the story in one hand, while also covering the Quartering and dunking on him a little bit, and that's never not a fun time. So if that interests you and ends up being fun for you, then leave a like and a comment down below. Be sure to subscribe and ring the bell icon if you want to see more from me in the future, and don't forget to join the Discord server through the link down below. But with all that said, without any further ado, let's get right into it. Because JD Vance was, well, I don't think he was attacked as far as I know, but his house was at least vandalized by a man with a hammer, and it's very possible that the hammer-wielding man was attempting to pull a, what was the guy who attacked Paul Pelosi? Basically to do what the guy that attacked Paul Pelosi did. Of course, people like The Quartering, and I'm sure he's going to make a reference to it in this video. In fact, I'm putting that on my bingo card right now. They maintain that the guy who attacked the Pelosi's was Paul Pelosi's jilted gay lover, his jilted secret gay lover. Once again, the right totally takes political violence seriously, absolutely. Let's get right into it though, without any more further ado.
And now you've certainly heard the story, or probably have heard the story, of JD Vance's home being attacked by a lunatic. Some of the early stories referred to possibly shots fired. Turned out that hasn't been the case, or at least there's only been one or two outlets that have reported that. But what nobody is reporting right now is what you're going to get from The Quartering. So I hope you appreciate that. I hope you leave a like on the video. I hope that you subscribe or follow down below.
Oh boy, information that nobody but The Quartering will be reporting? Let's go. That's exactly what I want.
So that you can stay up to date. It turns out, at least from several sources I found, that this individual that went after JD Vance's home is trans. Leave a like on the video if you're surprised. There's much more to talk about with his.
I don't believe that is true. Let's fact check that. Let's see. JD Vance hammer trans? This is from The Telegraph. Trans child of domestic donor accused of smashing JD Vance's windows. William DeFore, 26, charged with vandalism and criminal damage following alleged incident. The hammer-wielding intruder accused of smashing the windows of JD Vance's house is the transgender child of a Democratic donor. William DeFore, 26, was charged on Monday with obstructing official business, criminally damaged. Police and officers swarmed the 5-bedroom residence early on Monday morning after a suspect smashed in the windows. The suspect had also vandalized a secret. Okay, so that's not a lie, apparently. So apparently this person is in fact trans. All my trans fans in chat must be thrilled right now to find out where this video is going, huh?
His family and other stuff going on. This was a targeted attack. And I'll share it. I'll outline it with you. I know Tim already covered it, but I've got extra details. So JD Vance's home was attacked. They show this video.
Of course, his go-to is the Daily Mail, man.
With the spooky music. You know, they showed up at the house and used a hammer and pounded holes in every window. Essentially what this was. They say, you know, early report.
I'm going to be honest. You could not have tried to send a message in a more lame way. Like, nothing beats throwing a shoe. Like, when in doubt, just throw a shoe. We all know that's the ultimate power move. Because there's no universe in which throwing a shoe is lethal. But it's a very clear sign of disrespect. And it'll definitely go viral, and everyone will laugh.
It's like it's a break-in. They said, this does not appear to be break-in to me. This appears to be some trans lunatic who doesn't like JD Vance showing up at his house and pounding at the windows with a hammer. If he had been home, I don't know. Who knows what would have happened.
Oh, who knows what would have happened? Might have been like what happened to Paul Pelosi, which you claimed was not Paul Pelosi being victimized explicitly, and probably are about to restate in this video, unless you just decide to let that be an elephant in the room.
Maybe it would have been another Pelosi situation. I don't know.
Okay, wait. Okay, so he admits now that there was an attack on the Pelosi's. Okay.
Wheeling maniac smashed 4 windows at JD Vance's Cincinnati home and has now been arrested by the Secret Service after overnight break-in. Many of you have already heard this part. William DeFore, 26, was charged early Monday morning with 1 count each of obstructing official business, criminal damaging or endangering, criminal trespass, and vandalism. Secret Service agents heard loud noises at the home. Asked about this. If that guy had a weapon and had something other than a hammer, and JD Vance was home, JD Vance might be dead. Okay.
Whoa.
The fact that Secret Service let this lunatic go up to his house is pretty pathetic, actually, in my opinion. Should have never got anywhere near his house.
True.
DeFore was detained by Secret Service shortly after when an officer...
Man, this is the top tier, groundbreaking commentary that millions of people go to the quartering for. This is what I like to see. Top tier stuff.
To inform the suspect of his rights, he responded, "I don't know," the arrest report says. He had also allegedly vandalized a Secret Service vehicle on the way up to the home's driveway. Was nobody in it?
Holy shit, that is brazen. Good God. Like, you're already on your way to do a very illegal thing, and you're hoping, I assume, to be able to not get caught so that you can do the very illegal main objective, and you stop to do the side objective that puts you in immense risk of getting caught right then and there. That is some balls. Holy shit.
No motive has been released. Well, I'm going to tell you the motive. Vance posted on X, "I appreciate everyone's well wishes about the attack on our home. As far as I can tell, a crazy person tried to break in by hammering the windows. I'm grateful that the Secret Service and the Cincinnati police responded quickly. We weren't even home as we had already returned to DC." Now here's the SSRI-faced individual, probably on, well, we'll talk about this now. So DeFore has been accused of trashing the property before. He pled guilty in April to 2 counts of vandalism after causing more than $2,000.
The right are, like, very openly politically opposed to any kind of mental health care or medication. So the what? The joke is that, like, if you're on any kind of, like, medication like an SSRI, that it, like, makes you a blank zombie who's incapable of thinking. It makes you insane, and it's bad for you. This is a very strongly held position by a lot of big conservative pundits, and even, like, just mainstream right-leaning people. You know, everyone remembers the "depression isn't real, just have a beer" line from Keemstar, and the whole discourse that spawned from that. So, yeah, like, one of the right's go-to, like, insults is, "You're on SSRIs." Unironically, that is like a hard-hitting insult to them.
With the damage to an interior design company, court record says, trashing property, not JD Vance's, just other property. He was sentenced to treatment at a mental health facility for 2 years and was required to pay $5,500 in damages. DeFore is set to be arraigned in Hamilton County Municipal Court tomorrow. Following the break-in, footage was released showing large holes in the windows of Vance's home as cops patrolled the scene and recorded evidence of the damage. The luxurious East Walnut Hills property overlooks the Ohio River and spans 2.3 acres. The Vance family purchased this home for $1.4 million. After taking the vice presidential oath in January 2025, Vance and his wife have lived with their 3 children at the Naval Observatory in D.C. The couple also owns property on Capitol Hill. They previously owned a...
You know what's so crazy? This guy has to do the right-wing grift for a living, because before he did all of this, he was a Magic the Gathering guy. Like, his whole online presence was about Magic the Gathering, but then he couldn't stop playing grab ass and sexually harassing cosplayers at events, so he got banned, excommunicated, and shunned from the entire tabletop landscape, and was forced to become a right-wing grifter talking about the evils of Me Too. And you'd be surprised at how many popular or middling right-wing figures started out as a popular figure just in general in some apolitical area, got exposed as a sexual harasser or rapist, and because now they're like anti-Me Too, they become a right-wing figure. Tobuscus did this. Like, Tobuscus is now a right-wing, like, conservative car rant guy, because one of his exes outed him as a rapist. He got Me Too'd and lost his career. And so now his whole life is about being dedicated to fighting feminism and the Me Too movement and being like a pro-Trump conservative.
Farmhouse in Alexandria shortly after Vance began his term as senator in Ohio, which they sold in March of last year. Everybody knew and knows that this is JD Vance's home. This was not a random attack. You know, but I'm concerned that you had somebody able to walk right up the house, armed, right? Here is allegedly William DeFore's dad. Huge.
Yeah, I mean, generally our institutions within the federal government that are paid for and run by government employees who are paid by U.S. tax dollars because they get a check from the U.S. government. When you mass fire government workers and you cut funding to substantial amounts of the U.S. budget, then yeah, it doesn't surprise me that the Secret Service is not exactly on their A game right now. Makes you wonder, like, is Trump actively sacrificing his own security just because he wants to run the country in the least effective way possible? Has he genuinely gotten that bad that he's sabotaging his own safety by fucking up the fundamental functions of our nonpartisan federal institutions like the Secret Service? Who knows?
Democrat. Donated to Kamala Harris. Donated to Kamala Harris again. I never really understand people who donate to this stuff. Very, very weird.
Do you feel the same way about the Republican Party?
Anyway, works, donated to Act Blue, $200. Harris Victory Fund, $2,000, another $2,000, another $2,000. Tens of thousands. Harris for president, $3,300. Now, this is William DeFore Jr., and then you have William DeFore. So I don't know who's who exactly. But what's interesting is this is an AI photo, obviously.
Wait, this is an AI photo, obviously? Is it? Is it? Show the Grok response.
This looks like the photo appears to be digitally manipulated. Yeah, so exactly. Okay. But what's interesting is William DeFore actually goes by Julia and was just arrested by the Secret Service for allegedly vandalizing JD Vance's home. Transgenderism is a mental illness. The left's attacks must be stopped. Here's Julia with a beard, looking very feminist, very...
So all these mainstream media outlets are like consciously dead naming and misgendering this, I'm presuming, trans woman. Well, I mean, that's the era we're in, I guess. People like this run everything now.
Feminine. This dork who they arrested, smashing JD Vance's window with a hammer. Crazy eyes per usual. I wanted to go to the... Let me find this other... News says his name is William DeFore. Facebook says he goes by Julia DeFore. Now, I wonder if I can find... Let me see if I can find this dude's Facebook. Or not. Probably not. It's probably been locked down. I don't know.
Careful, Cording.
Let's go Julia, maybe?
He remembers that time when he started typing in his search bar and his porn search history came up. I think the thing that he was... the thing that popped up in his search bar was something like forced cream pie, I believe was one of the things he had searched in his search bar. Autocomplete L, I remember. People don't remember this. There's some people in chat who don't. The quartering search history leak. It was so good. Wow. Okay, Google Images, go fuck yourself. I'll click on the H3 podcast link, I guess. Or no, wait, is there a Twitter post about it? Here we go. This is a different one. This isn't even the same thing I was looking for. Wait. Well, this is definitely interesting. Nick Rekieta nudes? What are you doing there, Mr. Quartering? What were you doing? What's this about? Hey, yo! This is not even the one I was thinking of, by the way. When he searched his Google, he was like typing into his Google thingy, and the pop-up the thing I'm talking about was that. This is a different scenario where the same fucking thing happened. Yeah.
Julia DeFore? Let's see here. William DeFore, no, just a dead account. Julia DeFore, just some e-horror looks like. This is something that definitely, so if I go William DeFore, Julia, and we start looking at some of these, you know, other posts or people that have found his Facebook page. William DeFore sadly has a history of mental health problems. Okay, sure. We went to the home of William DeFore, where William DeFore lives with his parents in Mount Lookout. His mother told us that she would prefer not.
We are literally just reading random tweets right now. This is where we've fallen politically, like in terms of like the way people engage with political content. The standards have dropped so much if you're a conservative, but the standards have just continued to rise if you're a progressive. Like, if you're a progressive, you are held to, like, the utmost highest of fucking standards. If you, like, breathed wrong 20 years ago, the right, left, and center will hang you, and will just lynch you. They'll just take you out into the woods and lynch you. In real life. They'll just do it. They'll just lynch you. Just straight up. But if you are a right-wing figure, like, your political engagement can literally begin and end at reading random tweets when you, like, name search and sort by top on Twitter for the topic you're talking about. And this is considered, like, top-tier research. This is completely, like, this is the peak. This is, he's doing great. You know, like, the bar is in hell for these conservative pundits. But the bar just keeps rising infinitely if you're any kind of progressive figure. And I'm not even talking about the kind of shit I deal with. I'm talking about the kind of shit that even lefty figures I don't like deal with. And I notice, like, dude, there is no way, like, I don't even like this person, but the shit they're getting right now is because they're left-wing, clearly. And if they were a conservative pundit, no one would be mad at them. All the time.
Not to comment about what happened. Neighbors say the DeFores are a lovely family, and they have never had any issues. JD Vance put out a statement attached. Again, born William DeFore has a Facebook account as Julia DeFore. They have the iDubbbz haircut, the mullet haircut. It's interesting. The left tried to kind of blame this on saying he was a right winger or a drug addict or something like that. Incorrect.
Who said that he was I guess she. Who said that she was a right winger? I mean, I don't spend a lot of time on Twitter these days, so granted, I wasn't really, like, tapped into the discourse, but he's gonna have to show me a few examples of progressive accounts with a decent amount of engagement claiming that, because I didn't see any. I saw the story, and my immediate reaction was, ooh, people getting mad. Clearly this person didn't like JD Vance and Trump.
Reports from outlets like IdeaStorm and Cincinnati Enquirer identify William DeFore as a 26-year-old man with no mention of trans identity or the name Julia. Social media posts claim otherwise, often citing a Facebook profile. So, I don't know.
Wait a minute. So, The Telegraph, by the way, which was the source that I found claiming that this person was trans, is a right-wing source. A very, very right-wing source, and was the top result. He cited Daily Mail, another very, very right-wing source. Now, AI is not perfect, and Grok we're going to be talking a lot about later, but one thing Grok is pretty good at is if you see a video or a clip or something and you're like, at Grok, is this real? It's almost always right. It is very good at determining whether or not something has been digitally altered, or whether or not there's some, like, existent context online that tells you exactly that this is not real. This is like a meme or part of, like, a trend that you're not in on. It'll tell you. And that's actually a pretty effective feature with Grok. And so the fact that it says there are social media posts claiming that this person is trans, and people have cited a Facebook profile that there's been no verified sources confirming. Like, the Quartering tried to find the Facebook profile a minute ago there and failed and then gave up. So everybody, these right-wing outlets are all calling this person trans, and there's no actual hard citation to go by. Now, it could end up being the case that this person is trans, But by the looks of things, it feels like the quartering jumped the gun a bit. Like, he went in saying this person is trans, and these right-wing outlets went in saying this person is trans, but even the Grok AI is like, yeah, there are posts claiming this, but they haven't provided evidence. None of them have. So, ooh, interesting.
Media posts claim otherwise, often citing a Facebook profile. So I don't know. I mean, is this person trans or not? I would say this picture, they're pretty clearly trying to look feminine.
Dude, how fucking funny will it be if this person turns out to not be trans in the slightest? And the quartering has to pretend that he thinks this person is feminine. Which, of course, completely throws a wrench in their perception of trans people as a whole. Him faking seeing a cis male as feminine in order to pretend they're trans would be the funniest fucking twist imaginable. Not that he or his audience would ever be smart enough or honest enough to understand how hard they'd self-owned, but personally, it would bring me great joy.
Oh, no. A lot of people are mentioning this Facebook page, but I have not been able to independently verify that. If they are trans, okay, then we would probably know, right? We would know exactly why they're doing it.
Well, if they're not trans, they're definitely a bit of a soy boy. Just kind of the whole vibe they've got going on. It's definitely kind of like on the androgynous side, if that makes sense. A little bit, definitely a little bit soy, you know?
Yeah. There's nobody, here's 16 minutes ago, 29 minutes ago, here's the latest reporting from the New York Post. William DeFore is charged with vandalism.
He, like, sifts through all the results that aren't tabloid sites, and specifically clicks the first tabloid site that pops up. It's crazy.
His first court appearance is scheduled for tomorrow. The suspect had also vandalized a Secret Service vehicle. We know about that. They weren't even home. We also know about that.
I seriously think the death of magazines has ruined people's ability to recognize the fact that there is such thing as, like, sensationalist fake news. Because I think for me, I grew up in a time where when you're, like, at the checkout at the grocery store, like, all there was to do while you were waiting in line as a kid was to look at the tabloids that they'd be selling in the checkout aisle. And you would just, even as a kid, you would immediately be like, this is slop. Like, all of it is, like, bright colors, trying to get your attention. It's all the most vapid nonsense stories. When you're a kid, you don't know half the celebrities there, so it's just immediately you're like, wow, this is garbage. This is garbage entertainment. As a child, that was my reaction to seeing those tabloids in the checkout aisle. And so seeing the same tabloids now go digital, and a whole generation of teens who did not grow up seeing these platforms as, like, the slop merchants that, like, bored boomers buy the magazines of in the checkout aisle at the grocery store. The fact that people don't associate, the fact that a lot of these kids that watch the quartering don't know what a tabloid is a big problem, I think. Like, I think a lot of it comes back to that, like, many of us grew up very much exposed to the reality of, like, fake sensationalist celebrity news. And we were aware of the fact that that is, like, a slop that exists and is full of bullshit. But now that it's online, and it's been a while since that was, like, a relevant thing that people talked about, I feel like a lot of young people never had the stereotype ingrained in them of this type of thing such that they could call back to and recognize that they're being fed bullshit. Instead, it just works on them, you know? Like, we've horseshoed around into people losing their self-awareness and falling for what was once considered obvious slop. And I'm talking back in the 2000s. People weren't, like, taking anyone seriously who read those tabloids.
Court documents, he pled guilty this past April to 2 counts of vandalism after causing more than $2,000 worth of damage to a local interior design company. He was sentenced to mental health. You know, DeFore was also charged with criminal trespassing in April 2023 and held on a $10,000 bond, but a judge determined he was not mentally competent to stand trial, and counts were dismissed in November 8th following this year. Now, certainly I would argue that this person, you know, they knew They knew that it was JD Vance's house. In March of last year, Vance made headlines for criticizing pro-Ukraine protesters who demonstrated outside of his home and allegedly accosted him while taking a walk with his 3-year-old daughter. I decided to speak with the protesters in hopes that I could trade a few minutes of conversation for them leaving my toddler alone. Nearly all of them agreed. Vance wrote on X at the time. It was mostly a respectful conversation, but if you're chasing a 3-year-old as a part of a political protest, you're a shit person. Now, it's going to be interesting to see if this is just, a weird, crazy person coincidence. But the media certainly is not going to dig in. The left-wing media, remember how they reacted about Paul Pelosi and
I would love to have a debate with the Quartering on why specifically someone's immutable characteristics matter when reporting on something they've done. I just fundamentally want to challenge the Quartering to a debate on the concept of someone's character mattering more than what they are, whether it be their skin color, their sexuality. Like he's obviously not going to want to have a debate on those grounds, but that's his actual belief. That's his policy. It's how he operates. Is insert thing is bad, but it's extra bad if you're a minority. So I'd love to have a debate with him on the grounds of why is it extra bad when a minority commits a crime than when a non-minority commits a crime of any kind. Didn't he chicken out from a debate with you? Yes, he did. Yeah. For those that don't know, I want to say I was 19. It was probably my second week of doing political content, and I did a stream response to one of the Quartering's most embarrassing, badly argued videos. And the Quartering ended up seeing it. Or no, the Quartering didn't see it himself, but one of his editors saw it, or one of his content channel community managers ended up seeing it. And I started basically setting up a debate with the Quartering through this manager. I was like, hell yeah, okay, cool. I'm literally 2 weeks into doing this whole political YouTube thing. I'm gonna get to debate the Quartering. Let's go. Now, the day comes, the Quartering arrives, and we get 2 minutes into our conversation. We're actively about to start talking about politics. We're getting through the introductions. And then all of a sudden, I say something, and I hear no response from the Quartering. Hello? Are you there? And I open up Discord, and all Discord shows me is a loading thing. Discord's just broken. And I'm like, what the fuck? My stream's still working, I'm still live, and my chat is still moving. So then I go to open up a tab just to see if Discord is down, and my tab won't load. I can't load any websites. YouTube stream's still running, chat's still working, and updating in real time, but Discord and loading any web pages just completely breaks. I tried disconnecting and reconnecting my internet, and that didn't work, so I tell the chat, all right, everybody, I'm going to restart my computer and hope this fixes this problem. And I'll be back in 2 minutes, because my PC's super fast. So hopefully the Quartering's still here when I get back. So I restart my computer, and I'm back in less than 2 minutes. I'm live again, and everyone's still there. The Quartering's chatters are still in my chat spamming slurs. I'm like, all right, I'm back. Stream's live again. And the Quartering's left the call. I'm like, yo, I'm back. It's been 2 minutes. Hop back into VC. And he's like, no, I gotta move on with my stream. I can't. I gotta move on with my stream. I'm like, okay, well, can we reschedule? Because I had tech problems. And he's like, yeah, we can reschedule. So he puts me back into contact with this lady who's a community manager for him or something. And she wants to reschedule the debate for next Friday. I'm like, okay, all right, let's do it next Friday. So we reschedule it. And in the lead up to this debate, I message this lady every day, just checking. Hey, we're still up for that on Friday, right? Just want to make sure everything's good. I was still new to YouTube. I thought that this was a thing you generally had to do, is make sure that, the plans are still set. That's generally not what you have to do. But I was very much wanting to make sure I secured this debate. And all the way up until Wednesday, I'm getting immediate responses of, yep, gonna be there on Friday. We're all good. Gonna be there on Friday. And then Thursday comes around. I message. No reply. Friday hits. I'm like, hey, Today's the day. We still up for today? No reply. I'm pretty sure this is a lie. Believe what you want to, Midnight. And so I'm like, okay, this is getting a little worrying. Friday night comes, my stream happens, and the quartering just no-shows. Just doesn't reply to me, just completely ghosts me and no-shows. Fast forward to 3 months later, I want to say. After classic WoW launches, me and my buddy Balth are up at like 2 a.m. grinding WoW, and I decide to live stream it. No politics, middle of the night, out of nowhere live stream. So I've got very low viewership, obviously. The quartering comes in out of nowhere and starts saying, just like starts making fun of me for my viewership. And then in response, I say, yo, you want to reschedule that debate you dipped out of? And he says, nah, I would have owned you anyway. And then he leaves. That was my last ever encounter with the quartering. And I guess you could argue he kind of won that whole encounter. Tech demons fucking destroyed me at the absolute worst fucking time. And the worst part is, whatever the hell happened, whether the most I can even explain could have happened was that maybe my stream got DDoSed, or my internet got DDoSed by quartering fans, because ever since then, and I'm still on the same computer, I have yet to have the same tech problem, where like some things are not connecting to the internet, but like my stream is still running and the chat's still running. It's like, what can you, like, I've never had that problem ever since. That happened only once during that debate, and I've never had that problem since. Which means it was either divine intervention to keep me from debating the quartering, or, like, maybe I was getting DDoSed. Because other than that, what could have possibly caused it? Does he have any evidence for that, though? Like, it's very out there claim to make, the quartering? Or my story? I mean, you can go back into my VOD history and look, it's from 2019, but I'm not going to go digging for clips from 6 years ago. Sorry?
Oh my God, nobody can make jokes. You can't make jokes about this. That's awful. You know, Paul Pelosi standing there in his underwear with a man with a hammer in his house. I don't know that, you know, I would say the Secret Service failed to protect his home.
Actually, no, this is a great example of how infinitely high the bar is for progressive channels compared to, like, right-wing channels. The quartering is just making shit up about this person being trans and pulling their sources from a tabloid article and saying, trust me, bro, no pushback. Meanwhile, I tell a story of my own personal experience from 6 years ago, like from live streams that I would have to dig through thousands of different videos and live streams in total to find. And people in chat are like, I don't believe your story, Zan. I'm gonna need evidence to believe your story, Zan. I think you're lying. It's like, yeah. So just trust the quartering, but you gotta have me dig to find a 6-year-old VOD if you're gonna believe me. So that right there is a perfect example of what I mean when I say the bar is in hell for these right-wing figures, and if you're a left-wing figure, you can do no right.
I mean, maybe I'm being too hardcore, but I don't. If you let somebody get up to the house with a weapon, you failed. Here's
Police
local reporting.
And Secret Service agents responding to the Cincinnati home of J.D. Vance overnight. So take a look. Our photographer on scene captured what appears to be damage to the windows at the home. Now, officers were there in East Walnut Hills for several hours overnight, going in and out of the house. Police could only tell us.
We hold progressives to a higher standard. What's your opinion on Hassan, Electric Cloth?
Quote, they have a suspect. Not clear if that person is in custody or what they could be charged with. We have spoken with Secret Service agents on scene as well, who tell us a statement will likely be made later on in the morning.
You see, like, so damage to the windows, those are called bullet holes. No, that was definitely a hammer. You know, since the person was caught, it would be best to, you know, damage. Those are bullet holes. He left his spies. I mean, those aren't, I mean, you could maybe argue that they're bullet holes, but I mean, you could certainly argue that they're also hammer holes. I don't know. I mean, I'll tell you this much. It's only one side of the political aisle that essentially is showing up at people's house and violently attacking them.
Okay,
whether or not this person is or is not trans, whether or not this person is or is not, you know, politically motivated. It seems like here you say Trump factors upset women before arrested. alleged vandalism.
What is the point of your video, Quartering? What is the point of your video? Because you clearly don't have hard evidence that this person is trans. They could end up being trans, but right now it just seems to be a rumor that even Grok says the only source that they can find claiming this person is trans is from unsubstantiated posts on social media made by randos. So, what's the point of this video? Like, is your goal literally just to claim that the left the left should be punished or responded to as a whole because of the actions of, once again, literally one person? You people bitched and complained whenever the media would cover stories of mass shooters writing manifestos describing the list of right-wing pundits and YouTubers that inspired them to go murder people. You guys claimed that it was guilt by association to say, yeah, the guy who said in his manifesto that he killed all those people because of Candace Owens did it because he was inspired by Candace Owens. Christchurch shooter, by the way, said he was inspired by Candace Owens. They claim that's guilt by association. But a random person who might be trans breaks some windows, and now the left must be denounced as pro-political violence because of this one person and the fact that they might be trans. And it's not even just like this is reflective on the entire left. It's also the fact that he's trying to lump this in with all trans people. He's been doing it with all races lately. There's a big part of the trend he's also been pushing called black fatigue, which is just white supremacy, but given a new brand name. The idea of it is that white people who are not racist are now fed up with black people, not because of racism, but because they're judging black people by the content of their character. And that the content of their character is bad. That is their logic. So they want to try and argue they just hate all black people because all black people are bad people, not because they're black. That is unironically the argument made by the black fatigue narrative. The black fatigue meme. It is just literally hating black people rebranded. Like, when they explain it, it's like, oh, so you just hate all black people, okay. But they call it something different so that they can make being racist into a meme, but they can't just own being racist. They'll never own being racist or Nazis or any of these things. A critical thing they've been arguing for a long time is that the left calls everybody a Nazi. The left calls everybody a racist. The left has overused these terms to the point of meaninglessness. But if they start owning those terms and admitting, yeah, we are those things, people start to say, well, wait a second. Wasn't the left right to call you that then? All those years where you were calling them crazy and saying they were misusing the term? Like, if you end up actually being a Nazi openly, yeah, like, they were right. So, for instance, like, Asmongold could never, like, fully embrace being a Nazi because a core part of his entire brand is accusing the left of being basically like snowflakes for interpreting his very normal, mild beliefs as radical. When in reality, he does have Nazi beliefs, or is at least repeating a lot of Nazi beliefs. And if he ever decided to, like, publicly own that, he basically removes a lot of the benefit of his brand and the plausible deniability. Wait, so Trump was kidnapped? Wait, Midnight, are you doing all right? The title of the stream, if I didn't typo, should very explicitly be Trump kidnapped Maduro. Yeah, the title of the stream is Trump kidnapped Maduro. Why would you ask me that if Trump got kidnapped in chat? I love you guys, but oh my lord. Oh, sometimes you guys just say the darndest things, and I have to, like, take a deep breath and meditate for a moment to keep myself from crashing out. Oh, man. Anyway. If y'all enjoyed this segment, if you found it entertaining, educational, or enjoyable in any way, be sure to leave a like and a comment down below. Subscribe and ring the bell icon if you haven't already and you want to see more from me, and follow my social medias linked down below, especially joining the fan Discord. It is the main hub of my community and fan base and is where you absolutely want to be if you don't want to miss anything. Hopefully I'll see you around the Discord, but thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.